Tonight, and we are live. Show you the stylings of the great Art Jones and his singing voice, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to In the Paint live stream on StreamYard and also YouTube. We are here tonight. Got a great show for you. Got a lot of great topics spanning a variety of sports and social issues as well. I want to thank you guys. Mark Cunningham is here. That's the creator of the show. How you feeling, brother, man?
I'm good.
Okay, I was waiting for that. Verbal, not the whole cool peace thing. You know, trying to be smooth with it, whatnot. Barry White of sports, ladies and gentlemen.
You hear the vocal stylings of Max 611? Yes. No. I'm good, bro. How are you doing?
I'm energized, man. I'm ready. I see we got my man is ready to come on. We're gonna bring my brother in. You know what I'm saying? My man, what's going on? Dom. Boom. What's happening, buddy? How you doing, man?
And a proper good evening to you, Ronald Jones.
Actually, not Ronald, but Rodney. You know,
Rodney, that's right, Rodney Jones. And to Mac, I give you a
Well, like this nonverbal communication going on here. I'm like, the fuck is this?
Oh, you guys are crazy.
You know what I mean? So, let's get into this thing, man. Let me just move this mouse down here. I should have had this ready, but I didn't. But let's see. Here we go. Yep. There it is. Earlier tonight, breaking news. Dom, your boy, your favorite coach, Doc Rivers, dismissed from being coach of the Los Angeles Clippers. I definitely want to lead off with you, Dom, because you've been very vocal in your in your opinion of the great Doc Rivers. So with that being said, we're gonna turn the mic over to you. We're just gonna listen and laugh and take it all in.
It's funny. One of the guys on the page that you guys have, Facebook page. Oh, what do you mean overrated? Come on now. You know, it's the player. All right. But this happened 2 times in 4 years, 2 different teams, same coach. Down 3-1. First time they took his presidency, you can't do both. Okay, that's a bit much for you. Even though you put this together and you still blew a 3-1 lead, we'll give you a break and we'll just take the presidency from you.
Right.
Then you do it again in a mere 2 years, 3 years later. And it's like everybody got amnesia. Come on, guys. Like I always say, he had the original big 3, won 1 chip, and he was, ordained one of the greatest coaches in the NBA. And it's not a personal thing. Trust me, I personally don't like him. But that being said, his record speaks for itself. Right. He wasn't successful anywhere else he coached. He wasn't successful in Boston until they got the big 3. He went to the Clippers, first round, second round exit from then till this morning when he got fired. So, I mean, anybody else, guys, whether you like them or not, we've seen it a million times. They normally go, hey, R, man, we gave you, and I'll tell you what, I don't know the exact numbers. Maybe Mark knows.
I got it in front of me.
How long has he been coaching the Clippers exactly? Had to be 9 years? Maybe 10? No.
7 years.
7 years.
Wow.
Okay.
And check this out, Dom.
Yes,
he has coached nonstop since 1990, 2000 to 2019 20. He's only had two losing seasons and 1 season at 500.
Okay.
He's not a bad coach, but he's not a great coach. He's not a great coach either. And he's a shade over 500 in the playoffs, 91 and 89.
Right.
It's his playoff totals with
that's my biggest contention, guys.
Right. One NBA championship and 1 Eastern Conference championship. Which was both
and that was the year they won the chip. So in his whole coaching career, I don't mean to cut you off, but this is what I was getting at, Max, from that long soliloquy you just gave us. 1 conference final. 1. And wasn't there one of them with the Clippers.
Right.
Nope.
Right.
And again, you shook this team up. You took his presidency from him. You checked all the boxes from the first time he blew a 3-1 lead until this evening. So I hate to use the old analogy, it is what it is, but it is what it is. Especially when Mark just quoted his playoff record.
Right.
Well, let's not get it twisted. The NBA is not that competitive for you to have a winning record as a head coach. Let's be real. But it's the playoffs that count. And he has not produced. You can say what you want about the players. We go through this all the time. I'm one of those that always say coaches coach, players play. But you made no adjustments twice when you were down 3-1. That takes a lot of wheels to come off the bus, guys, to lose 3 in a row. That's damn near getting swept.
Yeah, I can't argue that.
Yeah.
You know, Mike. Good. No.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say his record with Orlando in the playoffs is 5-10. His record with Boston in the playoffs is 59-47. And his record with the Clippers in the playoffs is 27-32.
Horrible. That stinks. That stinks, for lack of a better word. But
so he had a losing record with the Clippers in the playoffs before this year.
Probably. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. Here's the thing with me. Mac, you came up with that the fact that he's been coaching since what, 92, 93?
99.
Excuse me, 99.
99, 2000 to 2019-20, which is this year. That's 20 years.
Okay, that's 20 years. Okay, gotcha. You know what? My thing is this. This is just me and my fault. When I think of Doc Rivers, I guess I just overlooked him. To be perfectly honest, no, I'm keeping it real. I just never really thought of him, as getting fired. Possibly, I'm like, oh, Doc, he's Doc. He's gonna be around, whatever the case may be. But it took you guys to actually bring me to the light to see, what kind of coach he really is. You know what I'm saying? He's not a great coach at all. He really isn't. So I agree with that totally. And also at this time, let me take the time to bring our people in. We got my man Kevin. I'm gonna have fun with you today. Oh man, I got you today. You thought that Facebook thing, but you're gonna see the other side again tonight. I guarantee you. We got my man David Bishop is here, and also Nico out in Cali. What's up, guys? How you guys doing? And thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, what's up, everybody?
My brothers, what's going on?
What's up?
What's going on? So,
all right.
I sat patiently and I listened to my man Dom. Dom, I love you, man. I just want you to know that.
There's got to be a but, right?
Before I say what I gotta say, I love you. I love you, brother.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that relationship could change week to week. I tell you right now, between these two.
Yeah.
It's going to change now, actually.
Yeah.
But
so Doc Rivers, how many coaches in the league have won titles? How many current coaches have won titles in the league? How many?
So you got Popovich. You got Popovich, Nick Nurse,
Steve Kerr,
Spoelstra, Kerr,
Steve Kerr, Tyronn Lue.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he's not a head coach.
He's not current. No, he's not current. Though.
No, but I'm saying he won the title. He's in the league. He won the title. That's it.
Okay.
What's the guy's name from Dallas? Jim Carrey. It's like Jim Carrey. I forgot his name. The coach of
yeah.
Dallas.
I know what you're talking about. Okay,
Right.
so that's seven.
Right.
7.
So out of 30 teams, 7 coaches have won titles. You mean to tell me that the other 23 teams, these guys? So if that's the case, if we operating on that logic, if that's the case, 28 other teams need to be firing the head coaches because they didn't reach the goal of competing for a title. 28 other teams need to fire their head coaches.
No, that's a great point, Bishop.
What you're saying? No. Doesn't matter how they lost. Doesn't matter how they lost.
No, I wasn't going to say that. Great point.
The ultimate goal is to be competing for a title, to be playing for a title. So 28 other teams in the league are not competing for a title, whether they lost by a series 5-1 or whatever it is, 6-2, 4-3. They all lost their series. So by that logic, 28 other teams should be looking for new head coaches because they didn't meet the mark. Number one, the Clippers organization is unrealistic. Yes, they choke. I got it.
Right.
It's unrealistic for them to think that because they bring in two players that it's going to erase 50 years of losing. 50 years historically of losing. They never won, not even a conference title. That means they've never even played for a championship. So you mean to tell me they bring in two players and they expect in one season that the 49 other years of mismanagement and shitty performances is going to change that franchise. It's going to change that franchise. It did not work, and it's the coach's fault.
Yes,
okay.
Of course.
Yeah,
now, let me just say one thing, R. Your analogy is great, Bishop, but let's go back 1 second. Max, go to your playbook. How long has he been coaching the Clippers? 8 years?
7 years.
7 years.
7 years.
How many coaches have lost their job in that 7-year span? That didn't do exactly what he didn't do.
Have they not been respectable?
You brought up coaches with
I'm just saying. Have they not even been respectable? They've been respectable.
Stay with me, Bishop. You brought up winning chips. In them 8 years, if you'd have brought this question up early, we probably could have did some research. But in them 8 years, a zillion coaches have been fired and probably had 90% less talent than he did. They shook this team up twice from the first time he lost a 3-1 lead to tonight. Okay? So we could say, yeah, he brought them to respectability. But again, in your world, because you brought up rings, he falls in that category of no rings, no upward mobility, because he's never made it to a conference final. Some of them coaches that got fired made it to a conference final. Dan Antoni made it to a conference final, right? Even though he walked away, he didn't get fired. He walked away. There are coaches there are coaches in that time span. We're just going by him being.
Please, can we stop for a second? Can we stop for a second?
Yes, go ahead, Miss.
Please don't mention D'Antoni and coaching in the same sense.
I'm just going by the standard you brought up, Bishop. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I got it.
Right. I'm not no Dan Antoni fan either. But I'm saying in the time period that Doc Rivers has been just coaching the Clippers. I'm not even going to go back to what Mark said. He has a losing record as a head coach in the playoffs, period, with each team he has coached. Conference finals, 1 time. Original Big Three, 1 time. 1 ring. So he's in the same category as the guy in Dallas who people say should lose his job every other year. He's in the same boat as him. But we somehow or another put Doc Rivers on this pedestal, and he had, Bishop, you're the basketball guy on the line. He's had more talent than any one of these coaches that have been fired in the last 8-9 years.
So by that logic, Milwaukee Bucks coach. By that logic, Milwaukee Bucks coach deserves to go. By that logic,
he's only been there 2 years, Bishop.
Coach deserves to go.
He's been there 2 years.
No, by that logic, he had the best record in the league.
Yeah,
the best record in the league, and you lost to the number 5 seed with the best record in the league, the MVP of the league, and the Defensive Player of the Year. So therefore, you didn't compete for a title. You're not contending for a title. You deserve to lose your job.
But again, he's been there. He's been there 2 years, Bishop. And each year, though they got knocked out in the playoffs, if we're gonna just go by your standard, a lot of coaches would be fired. Right. But he has showed progression with this team. He took this team from a non-playoff team to a playoff team.
And Doc Rivers didn't do that.
But he had good talent when he got
Doc
there.
Rivers didn't do that?
Yes, he did. The coach of Milwaukee, no coach in NBA history, Bishop. Let's just keep it real, and I'm going to end it at this. No coach in NBA history has blown a 3-1 lead 3 times. No coach in NBA history.
Okay. So
I'll let you go on from there.
whether you lose by 3-1, like I said, whether you lose 6-2, 4-2, whatever it is. But before Doc Rivers got to the Clippers were the joke of the NBA. They were the joke of the NBA. When you messed up, when they didn't want to be bothered with you, there's a few destinations that they sent you to. The Clippers being one of them. I remember the Clippers. Did they have Danny Manning at one point?
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny Manning.
That was the only time that anybody ever even took the Clippers remotely seriously.
They didn't take them seriously then.
Not they weren't even serious then.
Right,
They
but
had
I'm just
an
saying.
They had an NBA legend running that organization, and they couldn't
Before
get
Doc
out
Rivers
their way.
got there, they weren't even respectable.
No, they weren't.
Here's the thing for me, and the Clippers have a right to. Any team has a right to change coaches, but I think to Don's point, and I have to say this: the Clippers organization historically has been trash. We all know that.
Right.
Doc Rivers, though, was not some unknown rookie coach that they brought in there, and then he developed along with the team, and they hit their pinnacle at the same time. Doc Rivers was somebody who had won. So he was brought there to bring a winning attitude to that organization. And they felt that, so they respected him in that way. So 7 years later, the reason why he was brought there, he hasn't won. So the Clippers have a right to say, we want to change direction. And we all know, whether it's the coach's fault or not, the coach goes. They spent all that money bringing Kawhi and PG in there, and they were expected to win this year. Doc didn't win. He didn't do it. Whether it was his fault or the team's fault, it doesn't matter. The coach is always the one that gets the axe. And they gave him 7 years. So they brought him in there for that purpose. They did 7 years to achieve that. He didn't achieve it. So they said, we're going to have to part ways. I don't think it's necessarily a disrespect or a knock to Doc Rivers. It's just whatever he brings didn't work with that organization. So the organization said, we're going to part ways. I don't think it's unexpected.
Yeah, that's it. That's all, man. This dude had
He had
too
his time.
much talent, man. He had too much talent, and it's like, if you got that much talent and you still not progressing, it's time for you to go, man. It's just that simple.
Well,
that's how I'm looking at it.
When you guys keep mentioning like talent, so you think Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan were the answers?
I mean,
well,
they got but that was a great team.
Yeah,
and they just didn't make it. Like this the thing. This is why I can't agree with your logic, because that team was built to try to win a championship. That was like a championship team that we just saw right now. Even when the Clippers was going against Golden State, and they kept losing to Golden State, and Golden State eventually won the championship, and the man failed. But it's like, when it comes to weak teams like Phoenix and Sacramento, I mean, those teams is really not built for a championship. So it doesn't matter if they keep their job or get fired, but it matters when Doc Rivers has all this talent and he just didn't do nothing with it.
And let's not forget one thing, Bishop. Again, going to one of your points. The era that you're talking about, Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, and all the other pieces around, he did that. He was the president. He put the pieces in place for he to coach, and he could not get to at least a conference final. Nobody's saying he should have won a chip, Bishop. I'm not going by your standard.
But I'm saying when this all happened, right? So if we go back and we look at it, when this all happened, Golden State came on and took everybody by storm. So no matter what your roster was, no matter what the construction of your team, the coaching philosophy or whatever, Golden State came on this team in the Western Conference and blew the whole Western Conference up and continued to blow it up. And if Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant wouldn't have got hurt, they would still be blowing it up, even if LeBron was in LA. So it wasn't a function of hey, we made bad decisions.
If ifs and ands, I always say this, Bishop. If ifs and ands were pots and pans, when we rewind this whole Golden State, whatever it was called, they had one ring. They won one chip before they went out and got Kevin Durant. One. Yeah. We making it sound like they was the 60 Boston Celtics because they brought something new to the game. The analytics, the 3-point. They won one championship.
Time out. I'm sorry. Time out. That's a little good. All right. You know what's funny about this, besides the fact that you shouldn't talk over each other, but what's funny to me is literally minutes ago, I said, they actually agree. I said it's gonna be short-lived. And right on cue, it's displayed right in front of your eyes. And
Dumb,
yes,
I love you, right?
Of course, I love you too, man. I'm just the only thing.
It's like an abusive relationship going on here.
If we're gonna keep doing this championship standard, then let's really look at the Golden State Warriors, guys. This plateau we put them on. They won a ring, lost a ring, lost a ring to the same team they beat minus 2 of their stars. Win 73 games, lose a championship. Go get Kevin Durant.
3-1 was the series. What was the series? 3-1.
Yeah, and they were up 3-1.
And Cleveland came back, so it can happen to anybody.
But it's never happened to one coach 3 times.
But I'm just saying, so it can happen to anybody.
Let's keep that in the back of your head, baby.
Well, that is kind of true. I mean,
let's keep that in the back of your head.
Sorry,
it never happened to one coach 3 times.
I just, you know what he said is like, it's perfectly fine. They have the right to do it. They can pick and choose, and decide whatever direction they want. But it's like it's going to be really hard for people to take the Clippers seriously when you get somebody who stabilizes your franchise from being shitty for like 49 years. You get somebody to stabilize your franchise and have you as a staple in the playoffs. So the team is positioned to be in the top 3 in that Western Conference for at least the next 3 seasons. They are equipped to be in the top 3 for the next, depending on what Golden State can do when they come back. They're positioned to be in the top 3. The Clippers are, and then you decide that you want to like blow up the coaching. So you better have somebody coming in there that is able to get these guys because then you're going to wind up in the same situation. You're going to wind up in the same situation.
They're going to hire Mike D'Antoni.
What happened with Paul George? Did y'all hear about Paul George? His baby mama fiasco. Is that really true that the Clippers had to pay her off so she wouldn't run them out?
Wait, who?
No.
What?
Who's that, Nico?
I don't know about that.
I bet. I just because I heard something. They were saying like Paul George got some little porn star pregnant, and
oh god,
I think this was recent, and she was going to do a tell-all. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, he got
what's the problem?
Yeah, his problem was he probably followed Sweet Lou to the strip club out there, and guy went left after that. I'm just what? Oh, and of course, I gotta bring up Mr. Kevin.
Hey, fellas.
Yeah. Who's eating chips over there? Is that you, Kevin?
That's Kevin.
I'm closing my bag.
How did I know that, huh? You had that little sly, sly look on his face, like, oh, I'm innocent. I'm not doing anything. Yeah, stop eating chips. Close it up. And we're talking bad about your team. Whether you're gonna man up and defend your squad or what? What's happening here?
I'm a Knicks fan.
Yeah,
no, you're not. I thought you was. Oh, he is.
Oh, he's a Knicks fan.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
I thought he was. Last show he was bigging up the.
I got a.
He's still with the damn chips.
I want to bring up.
Yeah, there's a mute button.
You guys mentioned.
You're right. Good.
You can eat all the chips you want.
You guys mentioned Mike.
Mm-hmm. Oh shoot.
Oh, here we go.
You guys mentioned Mike D'Antoni, right?
Yes.
I was joking.
His
Don't do it.
No,
Mike.
his-
Don't do it.
his
Don't do
playoff. No. Let me get it out. His
Get it
playoff
out.
record is 54 and his playoff record is 54 and 56.
All right, so it's a little bit better than slightly
Did you
better
hear
than
me?
Doc's. Yeah.
With
Can
no
you hear
titles.
us?
Remember, I brought up last
No,
week.
Doc's is better.
He has the third highest winning percentage of all coaches in the Western Conference the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Google that.
D'Antoni.
I brought that up last week. Yep.
That was
He has the
D'Antoni,
highest-
exactly.
The third highest winning percentage of all coaches in the Western Conference in the last 4 or 5 years.
It's just the
But has a
playoffs.
losing record in the playoffs.
He made it to a conference finals.
So wait a minute, Mac. What is
Right.
Rivers?
So my
What
point,
is Rivers career winning
Playoff
record? Yeah, in the playoffs. What is it? What is it?
in the playoffs is 91
Yes.
and 89. So
Okay, so he's slightly
better
better.
than Mike D'Antoni.
Okay, fine.
Right. We
Couple-
don't
like
like
4 or
Mike
5 games.
D'Antoni we don't like Mike D'Antoni as a coach, right?
Right.
Right.
We don't like Mike D'Antoni as a coach, right?
Right.
Doc Rivers is meant to some of us, but their records are comparable.
Mhm.
They both are not really good coaches in the playoffs. So it was time for Doc to leave. You there for 8 years, even though this was a new team because they put several different pieces together. 8 years and you still haven't gotten out of the second round. I gotta let you go. I done gave you everything. I gave you Paul George and Kawhi, and you still couldn't do anything with that. So you gotta go.
And you had a good defensive team. Besides that, you had Beverly out there. You had what's the other guy?
They had a good team.
They had actually a very talented team, and again, nowhere. Once again, the streak continues. The streak in futility continues out there.
Right.
And D'Antoni has made it to a conference finals during that time period in the Western Conference.
And that means
It means he did better than Doc Rivers. That's all it means. We're talking about Doc
what does
Rivers.
that mean? Ultimately, what does that mean?
That he made it to a conference finals that Doc Rivers didn't. I mean, can I say that he's
So I'm just saying, like, so what does that mean?
It means
Jesus
they're both
Christ.
jobless. It means they're both jobless. That's what it means.
Yeah, they're
They're
both
both
jobless.
unemployed.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, he made it to conference finals. He was never able to get past that hurdle. Then he gets to Houston, and he keeps getting bumped in the second round. He's got a great regular season record. It's a great regular season record. His coaching philosophy is bar none for the regular season. But when it comes time for the playoffs, and you get those 8 teams, or whatever it is that you get those teams in there. For some reason, it just seems to be not enough. His best opportunities is when he caught the league off guard when he was with Phoenix by playing that just get up a bunch of shots, and then once everybody caught on to it, it was kind of like, yeah, you're never going to win in this league again.
Okay. Interesting.
But the narrative, between the two, I'm saying the narrative between the two is one, D'Antoni, hey, there's a ton of opportunities. He's doing great. He's doing this, doing that. The narrative with Doc Rivers is he's a failure. He's a failure. They both got comparable records.
Really.
They both got comparable records. They both
let me ask you, Bishop, is the argument that D'Antoni shouldn't have a job or that Doc Rivers should?
Well, the argument to me is if you look at the situations are a little bit different. You took a team that was mired in losing and underperforming, and you've made them pretty much a reputable organization within the Western Conference for, like I said, at least the next 3.
Won?
Huh? But how do you like?
Where are they going next? If he stayed, where are they going next year?
Oh, I mean, Bishop, even the owner changed while Doc Rivers was there. Then you got a new owner while Doc Rivers sold. Why does he get to keep his job? I mean, everybody can go. Even the owner left. So at this point, they don't owe him that. They brought him in for a reason, and I'm sure Doc had the expectation that he was going to be able to take it to the promised land. It didn't happen. I'm sure if you ask Doc Rivers would say, "I didn't do what I came here to do." So at some point, what does he have a job in perpetuity? Because he's Doc Rivers? Ultimately, they're going to say, it's time to change direction. Doc Rivers will land on his feet because he has that NBA resume. Somebody's going to pick him up, and maybe he'll catch lightning again like he did in Boston. But for the Clippers, that franchise, the match just didn't work. They gave it 7 years. They got the 7-year itch. It's time to go. And they both, like I said, I'm sure Doc Rivers walked out of there. He's disappointed, but I'm sure that he's not like, damn, they did me dirty. Mm-hmm. They gave him an opportunity. They gave him an opportunity to build a team to his liking and coach the team that he built. It didn't work. So that's just sports. It's not a personal thing at this point.
And let's not forget, it was 2018, not like 20 years ago, that Dan Antoni took those same Houston Rockets that we're always talking about to a conference final. 2018, guys, that was 2.5 years ago.
Did they win the title?
Right.
Which again, we're not talking. We're talking about what he did. He took a team. He took a team, Bishop, the Houston Rockets, who weren't that good before he got there. They was a mid-level team. Took them to the conference final.
Did they win the title?
He got further than Doc Rivers.
Did they win the title?
He got to the third round.
It
Did
doesn't
Doc
count.
Rivers get out the second round?
So
Jesus Christ.
when the playoffs,
He has no job.
There's a motto, right? There's a motto. Mac 611. There's a motto.
Yes, sir.
There's a motto, right? Moral victories are only for the regular season. During the playoffs, there are no moral victories. You lose and you go home. Regular season, you can work on your game. You can work on plays. You can talk about how hard you got to play. You can, give everybody attaboys and all of this stuff. You can do all of that during the regular season. In the playoff time, that's for the grown men to come out and play. And the boys and the wannabe boys, they go home. Like, none of that other stuff counts.
Right.
None of that other stuff counts.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And it doesn't count for Doc Rivers or it might be in Tony.
Right.
Hold on. Let me give my man Nico. I think I hear him in the background. What were we gonna say, Nico, real quick?
No, I wasn't gonna say nothing.
Oh,
I
okay.
I'm probably because I'm talking to my dog.
Oh, my bad. I heard him chatting it up for a second. I was like, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, yo, all this is very scintillating and stuff like that. As you know, my two bros, the Bishop and Dominic over there, they going at each other. Like I said, I thought it was an episode of Odd Couple. As I probably close my eyes, I just hear the theme. So I don't know. but we're gonna do some moving on. Still staying in the lane of basketball, of course. Yeah, here we got this one. Charles Barkley running his mouth. His take on the Breonna Taylor case. I don't know. I don't know. I gotta be honest with you. I might disappoint y'all tonight.
Stop.
I'm keeping it real. I might disappoint y'all tonight, but I'm gonna let y'all go first and see what you guys think about
we
this.
need to build off of you, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You got to build off of you, bro. That's how you keep it interesting.
Yeah.
We grown men, so it don't even matter.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, brother. You're right. You 100% right. My man Nico.
Right.
Now, thanks for bringing me back to reality and the true jerk that I am. I appreciate that. While I do not like Charles Barkley at all, trust me, I do not. I think the man's an imbecile, a moron, all that, and then some.
Definitely he is.
But let's keep it real. Do we actually need the police? Do we want to actually call the police when the situation arises? Would we like to? I'll be real. I'm just saying.
Me speaking as a black man.
Keep it real, brother. Keep it real.
That's a last resort. No.
But you're gonna call.
That's a last resort for me.
But you're gonna call.
Let me finish. That's a last resort for me.
Okay. Anybody else?
Can we just start off
I'm gonna
with
say this.
what is his point? What was Barkley's point that you're going to just
To defend the police.
Yeah, he trying to defend the police, and I'm not with Charles Barkley is saying, but me in my life, I never called the cops. But at the same time, I'm not with the foolishness of saying you fund the police.
Right.
Like, let's keep it a buck, man.
Well,
This is my opinion, and I know people gonna get mad.
Right. Same here.
Listen, a lot of black men, if y'all have an issue with the police, join the force. And if you join the force, y'all need to be on one accord, man. Other than that, I cannot get down with the defund the police stuff, because let's say if I'm not there to defend my family, and just like an incident when a few years ago, when two dudes broke into my mother's house.
Right.
Now I'm at the gym. Who is she going to call, and who's going to get there quicker?
Exactly.
You.
She's going to call me, but if I can't get there quicker, because I'm in a whole nother part
Who's she going to call?
I'm not even in that area.
She's going to call a cop.
I'm in a
Yeah,
that's my point exactly. So I just can't rock. Listen, man, because we're going to be on this show all night once I get this shit and stuff, man. I ain't with all that, man. So I'm going to let somebody else go, then I
feel
right
you.
behind that.
But I feel you. But again, I'm just like, I'm all for reform. You understand? The prison system and the way the cops go about handling their business. I'm all for that. You understand? There's no question about it. But listen, that whole defund stuff, where you taking, listen, why don't you put some of those funds to other uses? I'm just saying, you can't, that's less overtime for these guys. Listen, if they don't have overtime, and trust me, I'm not the biggest fan of the cops. Please believe that. But at the same time,
I never called him.
we gotta be realistic, man. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Because if you take hold on, Bishop, if you take matters in your own hand, bro, you're gonna wind up either dead or in jail. That's just what it fucking is. You're not gonna be walking out free. And you're not gonna be alive.
I don't want the women to take the matters in their own hand. If I'm there, I gotta handle my business.
I respect that.
We can maybe call the cops while I'm handling my business at the same time.
Right.
I respect that. Sit up here and be like, well, defund the whole police. Come on. Like, nah.
Here's where I always say, and I've been saying this for how long now, R. If you're not watching the bouncing ball, then shame on you. Because it seems a little ironic to me. Not talking Charles Barkley, talking about what you just said, R.
Right.
It seems very ironic to me that the ones that are behind defunding the police were the same ones that walked away with what you just said 5 minutes ago, 2 times in 6 years. Police reform. They walked away from that. We just recently got prison reform. But the same people that are saying defund the police are the ones that walked away from what R is talking about. Police reform.
You want to know where this comes from?
Let me finish, Don. But they're the same ones. You know what's funny? You know what I find funny? Unless somebody knows, I don't hear no answer to what do we do after we defund the police? What do we have? Security guards running around with watches and flashlights like at Walmart? I haven't heard that plan. I'm just saying, I haven't heard that plan yet.
When you say when people are saying defund the police, they're not saying eliminate the police department. That's not what they mean.
That's right.
So let's not get it twisted.
Right.
Defund the police means that the discretionary budget, all of the money that they have to militarize the police department, and all of the money that they have to send these guys to these trainings that basically prepare them for a us against them mentality in the streets. They're talking about that sort of stuff. Now, while I am in favor of some sort of program yes, we need the police. We do need police.
Right.
We need good police.
I agree.
We need good police.
I agree.
We do need police, but we need good police.
Right.
So my idea, instead of like defunding them, kind of like allow them to defund themselves. So now you have all of these payouts, all of these civil payouts for police shootings. You got Breonna Taylor, the $12 million. I just saw something about $20 million to some guy in some guy's family in Maryland. that he was handcuffed in the front seat of a cruiser, and the cop unloaded 7 shots, hit him 6 times with his hands behind his back. Or the other instance where the dude had his hands behind his back cuffed. They said he got access to a gun and shot himself in the front from behind. And he was handcuffed in the back of a cruiser. So what I would propose is, like, when they make these payouts, it comes directly out of the police budget.
Right.
So what that means is all raises, all of the stuff that, all of the perks and all of the things that they've become accustomed to, all of the union things and all of that stuff. It's like you basically, the actions or the inactions of the police officers when they see the shenanigans going on, you basically seal your own fate. So all of that money should come directly out of their budget. So then you're forced to be a better captain to your cops. Hold them more accountable if you know that it's going to impact. If you know that it's going to impact the department as a whole, you have more of an incentive to make sure that they're not out there doing bullshit.
So,
Anybody?
so to Bishop's point, because I agree with that. When we talk about defunding, we talk about, like, to your example, we go from one extreme to the other. So we go from addressing bad policing to the idea of, well, no police at all, or who you're going to call. I want to call, if I call the police as a homeowner, I have a property to protect, I'm going to call the police. But I'm hoping that I'm going to be dealing with good police officers. And if I'm not, I should have the right to speak out against that. It doesn't mean that I am attacking the entire police force or police all across the country. I'm talking about the bad police officers. So when they speak about defunding, they're talking about removing certain funds or diverting them into other areas of the community that can do the same type of thing. So the police are not therapists. They're not social workers. But therapists and social workers could help a lot of people in the community. So, but they pull money from these programs. They pull resources. They pull after-school programs. When we were kids, you could go to a school after hours and play ball. You could do these things, and they paid people to do that, even at PAL. They took a lot of those things out, and then they have these kids walking around with nowhere to go, nothing to do. Where's the funding for that? They defunded. They defund schools where they take out the arts and the music programs, where they take out sports from a lot of these schools. They can't afford. Are we going to have a science teacher, or are we going to have an art program? Well, the art program goes. That's defunding. So defunding doesn't mean removing the budget entirely so that you can't have a functioning police department. It means that some of the extra funds that are going into the police department can go to other areas so that we can deal with resources, because a lack of resources in the community is what's causing a lot of the problems. But the police are not there. They're not counselors.
Right. But in your world, Dave, which is a great point, I just need somebody to show me all the checks, all the boxes of what was defunded, why it was defunded. New York, you guys' city, prime example. They defunded one of the special victims units, $1 million, took it right out the budget.
Okay.
Where did the money go? Chicago, where Dominique used to live.
Yeah.
They didn't defund police. But when they cut their budget and they cut school budgets, where did they cut it? In South Chicago, where it was needed. South Chicago, South Side, the North Side. Where do we need more schooling? So they say, I don't live in Chicago. Following the numbers. We need more education. We need more of this in South Chicago because that's where most of the violence is coming from. So they need these programs. But the first thing the mayor did was he cut the education department in the South Side. New York, again, cuts this, that, and the other thing. But New York City is the same city that 6 months ago, your governor and your mayor said, we have enough money to send every illegal immigrant to school for free.
Right.
Y'all remember that, or am I forgetting something? Do y'all remember that?
No, I
I know some of you from New York remember that. It wasn't
For
that
sure.
long ago.
Listen,
That
I
the
hear you. I
governor and the
remember.
mayor said we
I've
have
read
enough
some.
money to educate every
Quick.
illegal immigrant.
Quick timeout. If you have, I don't know who's watching the basketball game. Can you turn that down, please?
Football game, bro.
Football game, basketball.
But-
I don't know which was.
Again, guys, I always
Mhm.
just ask the questions because I follow it, and I especially follow New York because I'm from New York.
Mhm.
And it seems ironic when they cut that special unit in New York that homicides have gone up. But again, until somebody has a checks and balance to show us illiterate people that I'm cutting our salary, so show me where our salary went. Did it go to after school programs? Did it go to lunches? Did it go to the PAO? Or did you cut it and send it somewhere else that we really didn't need it? Again, I'm just saying, if we're not following the bouncing ball, we could defund, we could cut, we could downsize anything we want, guys. But if you're not showing me where the money is going, but then come back to me 6 months later and still be bitching about we need this and we need that. Again, we need to start. If you really want to get into this, then you really need to follow the bouncing ball. Where is the money going?
You can
politicians' pockets. That's where it's going. It's going in their pockets, man.
We all saw the wire. Every one of us on this line have seen the wire one time or another.
Going in their pockets, and they buying houses and doing all other crazy stuff with it.
Yeah,
but you know what? They were doing that before. And the thing is, let's not make it sound like we had ideal policing before anybody said defund it. We had corrupt cops. We had cops that were terrible at being police officers. And then as soon as people started talking about defunding and the attacks came against the police department, what did a lot of the cops do in New York? They stopped fighting crime. Some of them, they backed off. They said, you know what? They had the attitude. They got real petty, and they said, you know what? If people feel this way about us, then we're gonna have a slowdown. And they actually had a slowdown. So a lot of the homicides and crimes that look like they have escalated, a lot of it is due to the fact that the police have turned their back on a lot of things.
Well, if you wanna go back, and so what we're missing here is you're taking what the police department, the statistics that they're giving you for face value. So if I said to you that murders have went up or going to go up because you're defunding the police, then that means that you're not doing your job. You can't say because we don't have a certain amount of money in our budget that murders are going to go up. That's number one. Number two, again, defunding the police means that you are basically not taking the police department away, but restricting a lot of the extra money that they have. I'm watching protests.
Yeah.
It looks like the U.S. is someplace in like Bosnia somewhere. I'm watching these military tanks. I'm watching police in military gear, full military tactical gear to confront protesters. I'm looking at police. I'm looking at tanks going down the street. I'm looking at Sometimes I watch the news from Palestine and the conflicts that's going over there in Israel, and I'm looking at the equipment that they have there, and they have this same equipment here in the U.S. And I'm like, well, why do we need this for peaceful protesters? Why do we need this kind of show of force for peaceful protesters?
Because it wasn't all peaceful, to be honest.
Yeah, but
say that.
The same upper armored vehicles you're talking about, Bishop. Let's take how many police cars have you seen get destroyed? And the cops just abandon the cars. It's either my life or the car's life. And then again, you got some cities that are allowing this to go on. Portland has been under siege for 3 months. With the police, with the politicians telling the police to back up,
right?
Stand down,
making
zones.
Let me take a time out again. I want to bring somebody into the conversation. Thanks for being patient. My man, Mr. Moody, your mic is live as well. Thanks for joining us. And what do you think about this conversation so far, brother? There you go. Shaking your head. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yo,
Okay.
Peace.
Peace.
What's up, my brother?
Peace, y'all. Peace to the gods. Peace to everybody, man. Yo, listen, really quickly. The reason that Donald Trump is able to fearmonger, and this is just a bit of my opinion, the reason he's able to fearmonger is because he can misinform those who follow him. And he can, when you're misinformed, but you're addicted to the misinformation, you're going to follow that and you're going to live or die by that. If any of you work a 9-to-5 job, if anybody has been furloughed, if they cut down on the fucking straws or pens or paper clips that all of us motherfuckers steal from the job and all that shit, you've been defunded. You have your job, your salary, you have your responsibility, but it's just that they're taking money out of things that they don't need to pump into it. One of the brothers just said, and I know this panel well because I tune in not only for Rodney and Marquis, I tune in for every man. I'm telling you, y'all are some of my favorite shit, man. This is not a convenient time for me to watch stuff, but I make the time because these are my kings. Let me tell you something. Defunding just means that not even in Chicago. What about Chicago? What about Chicago that has street cameras on every corner, but we ain't ever seen a murder live yet? We ain't seen it. We know they have it. I heard somebody else say, with all due respect, I think I heard somebody else say, yo, all the protests are not peaceful. How do we say that when we don't know where the disruptance is coming from? If I put on a Black Lives Matter t-shirt right now, and I go and light a fire to a building, do you know what that is? Black Lives Matter. I can work for the police force. I can work for anybody. Defunding means that we will take the money away from things that we think are over excessive. You don't need a tank to police the black community. The black community was being policed just well, in my opinion, when we had what we used to call cops that walk the beat. Does anybody remember?
It was.
Cop on the beat?
Of course. I'm a big fan of that.
And we knew them.
Exactly. And they knew us.
Right. And that's exactly what I just said. Black men needs to, if you have an issue, join the police force and y'all be on one accord. If we really have an issue with the police. So I agree with you on that.
So now, when we walk around and we talking about defunding, and people are talking about what will we do without the police? What the fuck does that have to do with defunding, man? That doesn't have anything to do with it. What they're saying is, I just don't need you. When you pull me over, I need you to pull me over looking like you're a part of the motherfucking United States Navy SEALs. That's not necessary. That's not even necessary in Chicago. That's not even necessary anywhere. Once again, I'm waiting for somebody to show me. I have been blessed to travel the world for music and sports. I have been blessed to travel in a lot of arenas and whatever. And I've been to Chicago a trillion fucking times. And one thing that I know where all those murders occur, there's a fucking camera up there somewhere. But yet still, all these murders in Chicago, all of this stuff in Chicago, but we never see no footage of them. We just know that they're there. Everybody burning shit down. We hear about shit, but we don't know if that's Black Lives Matter. Let me just say this really quickly, because I do have to walk into a session. And let me tell you, y'all brothers don't understand what y'all doing right now. What y'all do for sports talk. I'm talking to each and every single one of you.
Right.
What y'all do for sports talk, it's very important. because it's very important to be informed about sports, but it's also important to be able to educate people in the maturity, in the brotherhood, and the love that each and every single one of y'all show, that y'all can agree to disagree. That's important. But let me just say this real quick. Charles Barkley, I love him. I don't really give a fuck about celebrities. I love him to death. Shaquille O'Neal is one of my friends. So I love these guys to death. I think Shaquille got a little coon. I think Charles got a little raccoon. I think a lot of motherfuckers got a little bit of raccoon in them. But let me tell you something. I want you to think about what he said. It's not so much that I agree or disagree or whatever. I don't let my life be ran by what another motherfucker is saying. But let me just say something. There is a difference between somebody kneeling on your fucking neck and some corrupt police coming in your house and gunshots get busted and they already came there to kill you. There is a little bit of difference in that. The thing with Charles is like everybody that you see on the internet or you see on all these social media. I don't know if anybody, I'm not into Vlad and World Star and all that shit, but they're like these people. In order to stay relevant, you got to keep your name relevant by saying crazy shit. And here's where I think we're gonna fall off the fucking cliff. Everybody is so concerned with being relevant. Nobody is concerned with the repercussions of relevance. There's a repercussion to relevance. You can't just sit here and say, you can't just say anything, man. You can't just say that without thinking about it. And niggas is supposed to be like right in line with you. So listen, I don't care about what people are talking about, what Breonna tell. That woman was murdered. She wasn't murdered in her sleep. Yo, people, stop being informed. She wasn't killed in her sleep. She was killed in her hallway. Stop being killed. Stop being misinformed. Defunding does not mean taking apart the police department. It just means putting the money back into something that would benefit us all. The American police were put together sometime in the mid 1700s. Do your Googles. You could have Googled for defund. Do your Googles. Like,
I hear you.
It was put together, and I'm sorry.
Don't be.
Listen, it was put together in the mid 1700s. One of the major components of the police department was to keep niggers in check. They were heavy Irish. They were heavy European. They were heavy Italian. The police department has always been against black people. Always. It has never changed. It has been a whole thing. By the time it came to New York, that's where we were. So historically, let's cut the defund shit out. Donald Trump is up here telling suburban people, you know, if I lose, the low income people are gonna come to your neighborhood. And the motherfucker is out here telling you about mail-in voting and invalid voting, which are essentially the same thing, which have less than a 1% fucking percentage of being corrupted. We gotta stop the fear mongering. So, Angus, Matt, my kings, everybody here, I'm gonna continue to listen, but let me leave let me leave out of here with this really quickly. Listen, y'all, if they're not bad cops, they're not bad citizens, and they were when you look at the disparity in which came first, the chicken or the egg with the police force and the citizens. Emmett Till was not a criminal. We could go up and we could go down and we could go down. The American police force has always been put together to keep a certain group of people in check and oversee a certain group of people. All right. So remember that when you're talking defunding. Remember that when you're saying, well, it wasn't like this because they didn't burn down buildings. BLM is mainly peaceful. I know it don't look like it because once again, I can put on an In the Paint t-shirt right now and go on another sports show and fuck everything up with that t-shirt. Niggas don't Google, motherfuckers don't research, people don't care. The presidential election is like the NBA finals. And you got a bunch of people that come out that don't watch basketball. It's like the Super Bowl. You got people that don't watch football, but it's such a big event. They come out for it. They don't do local. They don't do pride. They don't do anything except voting. And they think that's all it is. When you do your local shit, that is the playoffs. That's the preseason. Let me put it in terms that niggas understand. Not y'all, but y'all know what I'm saying. I don't want nobody here, out on me, smacking shit out of me. Yo, check it out. You know what the American public is? We are a bunch of people that we treat politics like playoffs. We don't care about preseason, regular season, playoff. All we care about is the finals. You gotta get involved. The president is your employer. He's not your boss. He's not a god. He's an employer. All of y'all motherfuckers work, right? When's the last time your boss put a bumper sticker of any one of y'all on his car? He's not a god.
No.
And just
absolutely not.
Yeah, remember that when we talk defunding. Remember that when we talk all that other shit.
Okay.
Angus, let me get out of here. I'm looking for you and Marky to be on the show in the next 3 weeks, by the way.
That's going to be something. I can't wait for that.
Listen, every single body here, it's not about agreeing.
Right.
Let me tell y'all.
Right.
Your brothers, man, y'all are the most amazing people, because when I find myself coming to this show, it's because I'm going to support Rodney and Marky. I don't give a fuck if everybody turn on them. I'm going to support them through whatever, but the rest of y'all, one of the reasons I'm so eager to watch this, even when I don't have time, all of y'all are remarkable. Y'all are honest. Y'all are intelligent. And I respect y'all for that. And I don't mind being disagreed with. That's fine, because we are adults. But let's stop the defunding shit. That's bullshit. Yo, I'm gonna continue to watch, but let me get out of here and get my work done, y'all. I love y'all.
All good.
Peace,
love
guys.
you too, brother. Thanks again, man. Appreciate it. You know what I mean? All love, baby. All love. Yo, so getting back to my man with the whole Breonna Taylor case. I mean, listen, I spit my shit and how I feel. You understand? Perhaps other guys that get a chance. Kev, how do you feel if you even feeling a certain way? Mac, you, whoever.
Listen, she was murdered by the cops. They bust in. They didn't have a warrant, so her boyfriend chose to brandish his weapon, which is his right, because they bust in without a warrant, and he didn't know who it was. And that's my problem with the police.
Can I answer
There's no. Hold on, let me finish. There's no. When it comes to us, there's no stopping. There's no humanization with us. It's just bust in, kill us. We criminals, so we gonna kill you. If that was a white person, it would have probably been handled different. Although the police, and I'm gonna keep it real with y'all, the police are buck wild all across the board. They're getting out of control. They're starting to touch other people besides just us, and it needs to stop.
Kevin, you had you wanted to ask a question, and I just threw this this comment in the chat room from Team Xbox as well. What's your question, Kevin?
Hold on, did you see? My bad, I don't mean to laugh, but damn, did you see the avatar? Yo, fucking out today.
When you said that they didn't have a warrant, where did you get that information from?
Google.
They did have a warrant.
Incorrect information.
They did have a warrant, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, they
did. Okay.
Yeah, but they, okay.
So I was wrong.
So there's a difference between what they decide to deem as being a justified type action and what's morally correct. Sometimes those things are going to be different. So it's not saying, okay, they didn't get charged, So that means that they were correct in this woman losing her life. But based upon the information that they chose to release, they had a right to do what they did. Unfortunately, this woman got caught in that situation.
So
the police, granted, that's when they do their shit. They come in the middle of the night and they bust up in your house. Not everybody has a gun to sit there and shoot back at them for busting in the house. But that's why that guy's not going to jail. Now, if that guy was going to jail, you could say, yeah, fuck that. The police is just out to get us, this, that, and the third. Sometimes these things are generalizations. So if you say, oh, well, they don't, if that was a white person, they fuck with white people too. It's not just us. You know what I'm saying? When you research this shit and you study this shit.
But see, this is the reason why I'm not too gun-ho on the Breonna Taylor situation, because it was misinformation being put out saying that she was asleep.
Right.
And then come to find out she wasn't asleep. And I'm like, but at the end of the day, man, hey, man, you got to watch who you hang around with, man. You got to watch what you're doing, because if you want to keep, but it's just unfortunate, and I still don't like the fact that they just killed this woman, and she wasn't even shooting. That's the crazy part. How you kill a person that is not shooting at you?
So I get what you're saying, Dom. I get what you're saying, but I got a little different perspective on it. The warrant that they got was a result of sloppy police work and half-assing it. So they said that the dude was there about a month and a half ago. So they got somebody to sign off on a warrant. So that means they were surveilling him at some point to find out that he was there. So if he stopped off at the burger spot to get something to eat, he stopped off at the dry cleaners to pick up something, he went to a sneaker spot to pick up something, he went wherever he went, they were surveilling him. So if that be the case, why didn't they, if they were surveilling him, why wouldn't they issue warrants for those places too? If they felt like
he used her address on official documents as his address. Right. So that becomes a spot of interest.
Right. But
so they didn't go there that night to kill nobody. They was there looking
to see. If you're a cop, before you do that, you would confirm, like if you're a good cop, you would confirm, okay, this is one of the addresses that we have. When these guys are in that lifestyle, they have several different addresses.
Correct. And that's why during that night, they went to several other locations at the same time.
When you do that, it's kind of like, okay, well, is this address valid? Is this address valid? Now, on the other hand, if you and I, we go somewhere and somebody pulls a gun and starts firing at us, and I pull a gun and I'm protecting your life and my life, right? From this person shooting at us, but I shoot and I kill an innocent bystander.
That don't even have a gun. That's the crazy part.
I kill an innocent bystander. So guess what happens? Guess what happens to me? I'm protecting my life. I'm within my rights to protect your life and my life. But because I killed an innocent bystander, I'm held accountable for that. In this particular situation, Breonna Taylor was an innocent bystander. Now, if her boyfriend shot and engaged the police in a firefight, which that didn't happen, but if that was the case, then he made his decision to go for his.
Well, how do you know that didn't happen?
It was one shot.
Why is it so hard? Why is it so hard to believe that happened?
The police report says it was one shot that was fired at them, and then they released a barrage of gunfire, so much so that it went into the other apartment next door. So again, you don't know who's in the apartment. There could be kids in the apartment. There could have been elderly.
What about, forget that? What about the damn neighbors and the elderly people, like you about to say?
Right. There could have been. You press the trigger, it ricochets. It goes anywhere. Yeah. It's not brick. It's not. It goes anywhere. Right. So again, if you're a police officer, you're held at a higher standard. So what that seemed to me is like, this was like some street shit. You shot at me, and I'm going to show you. Mm-hmm. I'm going to show you. So I just unleashed all hell in there. I don't care who's in there. Somebody get me.
Let me show this comment from see what you guys think about this.
Yeah, I was just about to look at, and that's what I was talking about. Like, you gotta watch. They shouldn't have killed him. That's all I gotta say. They should never killed him.
I can tell you right now,
Right.
The Hakeem is Army strong. Let me just say this to you, and no disrespect at all meant when I do say this. If I'm in my house and it's 1:32 a.m. and you know what I'm saying, in the morning, whatnot, and I'm sleeping and my lady's sleep, and you don't announce yourself as the police, and you break into my house, I don't know who you are. My first thing is I'm gonna defend myself by any means necessary, and if that means me pulling out my shotty and putting a hot one in your ass, that's just what it is. You didn't go about it. I'm sorry, you didn't go about the right way because you should have announced yourself. This way, there's no timeout. There's no timeout because you really. So, Kev, you're gonna be in your house. Same scenario. Somebody kicked down your door. What are you gonna do? Nothing.
I'm gonna defend my household. But what I'm saying to you is that there's other stuff that you put in there. Because let's say you were sleeping in your bed, you sleep, and they banged on the door. Because you didn't hear them say,
but they banged on the door, but didn't announce themselves.
What I'm saying is, if you did not hear them say police because you were sleeping, did they not say it? That's a possibility as well. Because they're coming in either way. Either you're gonna come to the door and open it, or they taking the door anyway. Just because you didn't hear them say
I hear what you're saying, but I have a problem with that. I still have a problem with
that. That's why they abolished the no-knock warrant. That's why they did away with that.
Why did they obtain a no-knock warrant? Why did they obtain that particular type of warrant? Which means that gives them the right to just bust in and do whatever, as opposed to a regular warrant to say, hey, we give you an opportunity to. It's like, okay, well, did they think that she was a part of the whole drug organization?
Yes, they did their investigation. I don't know if you read that paperwork I sent to you.
Yeah, they said she was money laundering
for a reason.
Right.
I hope you read it. Did you read it?
I did. Yeah, I did.
So that shines a little bit of light. It was an investigation. That's not saying that they necessarily was going to even find anything when they got there. So there's a chance that they could have went in there, they could have searched her shit and not found nothing. They'd be able to cross her name off. Okay, this is null and void. She's not involved in this shit. They didn't even get the chance to do that. That shit turned into a shit show.
Because they kicked the door open.
Yeah, they're gonna take the door because I don't know where the fuck y'all come from. Where the police knock on your door and they say, "Hey, it's the police." And if you are dirty and you got your shit there,
no, listen. Because we're making it sound like. No, you're making it sound like the police said, "Excuse me, hello." Like
no, that sounds like what you want them to say.
No. What I'm saying though is that they, like you said, they were going to come in anyway. So they initiated the whole thing. It wasn't like they stood outside the door and dudes shot out there, said, "Oh shoot, it's the cop that's trying to shoot him." They bust open the door,
and so that's why he's not going to jail.
Right, but let's not act like the police somehow. This would they went.
But it's their right to do that. If you're doing your job, you belong there.
Here's the thing, though, Kev. Okay, who were they looking for? Were they looking at the ex?
They was looking for drugs, guns, money. They wasn't looking for any one person.
No. Stop. Let me stop you right there. The warrant had a name on it. They were
her name was on the warrant.
They were looking for a specific individual. No, they were looking for the boyfriend.
They were not. They knew he was in another place.
They were looking for the ex-boyfriend.
They hit 4 different spots at the same time. He can't be in all of them.
He was in none of them.
They were looking.
He was in one of them.
Was he in jail? I thought he was in custody.
They were looking for the ex-boyfriend who was already in custody. So there was even no reason for them to be there.
Evidence, investigation. Do y'all know how police do shit, or do y'all just assume?
But you just said he was in another location. The other location was
I understand how they do shit. I understand they do shit. They do shit. No, come on, Kev. Come on, Billy. Come on, bro.
I'm not saying time out. There's a difference between breaking down a situation and then saying that everything they do is fucking right. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is explaining, to the best of my knowledge, about this situation and how police operations work, because that was my fucking chosen career before I went off on a fucking tangent, and I studied the shit and I learned certain things. So it's not saying, oh, they was looking for him, they was going to get him. That's an arrest warrant. When you're looking for evidence, that's not an arrest warrant. So they could come in your house and search your shit if they got the warrant that says they could do that. If they don't find nothing, fine. Yo, you just had a fucking inconvenience time because they flipped your shit, tore your house up, this, that, and the third. If you were affiliated with a dude who was fucking selling drugs, you damn right they gonna investigate you.
And if they find
I don't know
nothing,
where y'all grew up at, but like, yo, you know who you associated with.
And if they find nothing, I just like how it's
then
just
you
like
were
inconvenienced. Okay, yeah.
That's what the fuck
that's
it
a hell of
is.
a fucking inconvenience,
But
don't
see,
you think?
here's where without taking sides. Here's where without taking sides, because I'm not a judge, I'm not a juror, and I wasn't there, and I always say this. But again, here we go with, please, if anybody out there loves the police, here's where piss poor training reared its ugly head. Where's the guy that wrote on there Army Strong? I'm pretty sure the young man that posted something Army Strong was his name.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he did like I did. We used to have what they call mount training, where you went and you took a building. You're going in there looking for said subject. You didn't shoot everybody. So when you saw the one person with a firearm, why didn't you just take him out? How did bullets just start flying sporadically?
He makes him.
Yeah, you believe
that's
the story that
that's
they
the
put
part
out there.
I don't understand. If we would
You
train
believe the
this
story
way in
that
the
they put
Army,
out there.
but what I'm saying, Kev, if we were trained to come in a building, look, see, weapon, fire, boom, that's your target. He becomes the target right now. Whether he was a part of the warrant or not, he's firing a gun. He becomes a target. How do you shoot up the whole place? That's what I don't understand. Exactly. That's what I don't understand.
How many cops were there? How many cops were there? There were 3.
I don't
right?
know, Dave.
There
was 2.
No, this is a question that I'm asking a specific question. My understanding, what I'm hearing, there were 3. And out of that, I heard that only one of them actually entered the residence. The others shot from the outside. So there's one shot that goes off, which now I'm hearing this evening on the news. They're saying that conflicting reports about even that particular bullet. That who did it come from? But let's say the boyfriend shot. One cop I'm hearing went in. The others stood outside. There were about 40 or 30 to 40 bullets that were flying all over the place. What part of the training is that? I understand about the warrant and having the right to search the property, but you don't know who's in there. And this young woman lost her life. Forget about if I don't care if her mother was a drug kingpin. The fact is they came in reckless. They shot up the place with no regard for. That's why that one cop got fired.
Right.
That's what got him out of there.
Right.
But criminally, they murdered that young woman
and got away with it.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking much. And they fucking. Oh, come on, Kev. They got away with that shit, dude. I hate to be. Listen, we're cool and shit like this, and we're gonna agree to disagree. But them fucking cops are guilty as fuck, and they got away with cold-blooded fucking murder. I don't give a shit. I may be wrong or whatever. You may feel like that, but that's just what it is.
So by your logic, Kev, my brother, by your logic, you're saying that you got to be careful with who you associate with. You got to watch the company you keep, and so forth and so on. You may have a family member. A cousin.
Most definitely do.
Brothers, whatever. I don't know, first cousin or whatever. You may have a family member that you never would suspect that might be a contract killer. If they don't advertise that, and you hang tight with them, you grew up with them. You understand what I'm saying? You watch the
situation doesn't apply here.
You watch the company. I'm just giving you an example. You watch the company that you keep, and just for some reason, they roll up on y'all and start firing because they know who he is, and you get caught in the crossfire. You okay with that? you okay with that because they had a
That's
right.
not the,
They had a right.
that's not the same situation. Like you adding shit to the situation. Give me a comparable situation.
Because it's you.
If I know in this situation, she knew that her ex-boyfriend was a drug dealer. They got her on footage going to the trap house with him. So they gotta investigate her. They have to investigate her. They have to. They gotta do their due diligence. Not saying that she's guilty, but at least they gotta see what her involvement is.
And
if they find there's no involvement,
and they saw, and what did that get her? It got her killed, right?
That's because the dude shot at the fucking door. Like, yo, this was a tragic incident.
That's because the police bust in their door.
Because that's what the fuck they do.
Okay, but here's the point. And see, this is what's driving me nuts, and I'm sorry, but we're making the starting point of what went wrong with dude shooting at the door, and we're not going back to the beginning where the police bust in. Whether they do that or not, he didn't know who the hell was coming in his house. So in defending his residence and the people inside his residence, he let off one shot. And even what he said was he shot low because he didn't want to kill anybody. That's why the cop got shot in the leg. The cop
hit his artery and he could have bled out. I don't know where I come from where like, oh, shoot a motherfucker in the leg.
Kev,
what I'm saying is that like
no. You said what you had to say. I got to say this because you're taking it. You want to every time there's any kind of impropriety involving the police, they want to talk about what everybody else did. It started because the cops bust in the door. Whether that's protocol or not, that's what caused homeboy to shoot. That's why he shot. It wasn't like they were standing outside eating Dunkin' Donuts and he said, oh, there goes 3 cops. Let me go shoot on them. That's not what happened. He was no, it's not fine. What it is that the police, they botched that. They botched it. Mm-hmm. They fucked it up. And so I got to say it like that. You don't go in there and shoot. You shoot 30 to 40 shots blindly into a house. Into an apartment? You think that's proper policing?
I don't think that's proper policing, but I understand how that shit can happen.
Okay, do you understand why?
No. When we sit here and armchair quarterback this shit, it's easy to do that.
Which is what you're doing now.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. But what I'm doing it, so we doing the same shit on opposite sides.
Okay, but you know what?
Exactly.
We're doing the same shit on opposite sides.
If this shit happens and it's part of the policing and so forth and so on, what was the $12 million for?
Right. Because she died and she shouldn't have died. Oh. That's different. That's something different. That's a civil suit.
$12 million for. Because
that's a civil suit. She should not have died.
No, by your logic, this is what they do. This is what they do. They have a right to come in and do.
No. Y'all are misconstruing certain things, and then y'all are jumping steps. The cops had a right. The cops had the right to take the door. The dude also had the right. The dude also had the right to fire his weapon in defense of his home. He had that right. In where the police then had the right to return fire because they don't know who the fuck that dude is. And they're not going to think, we just went in this dude's house. I mean, you don't got to agree with the shit, but that's what it is. And that's the fucking problem.
I understand.
And that's the problem. That's the fucking problem. Y'all just want to say, oh, they just killed another black motherfucker, and that's the only thing that y'all want to focus on. And that's not the shit. And honestly, that's why this shit is going to keep happening. So
if you've never been in a position, I don't know if any of y'all have, but if you've never been in a position similar to that, with a shot coming at you, now your training should, I repeat, should kick in, but something else kicks in too, fear, and your fear is telling you me or whoever is firing these bullets. Because I'm assuming, guys, I'm just assuming there. Because I wasn't there. You're coming in. Shots fired, whether it's 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, 4 shots. A shot is being fired in your direction. Your natural reaction is, I got to shoot. I got to shoot something. You should be trained well enough to shoot where the round is coming from. Don't get me wrong. You don't go in there spraying. But again, everybody's fear level is a little different. And until you hear that bullet zip by your face, it becomes a different. I'm not saying, guys, please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I already started with they was piss poorly trained.
I know what
because
you're saying.
you don't go in there blazing for one fire. If you heard one round, guys, I don't think the blazing fell into this scenario. You find that target. If you're trained even half-ass decently, guys, let's be real. You can hear where the round came from. And if somebody was shot, you could see the trajectory of where the round came from. It didn't come through a fucking wall. Excuse my French.
Right.
Okay? It didn't come through a wall. So you see the trajectory. You only heard. Let's get that. Let's do that first, guys. If something pops off after that, then we start blazing. But let's take care of where the round came from. And they could have avoided a lot of this shit, guys. Right, wrong, or indifferent. And again, I'm not picking sides. To me, it's about training. And I understand a fear factor. We all have it, guys. We can sit here and play tough guy all we want. Until that bullet zips by your face, don't give me the tough guy routine. Nothing personal, fellas. Serious.
And you know what? Dom, I respect that 100%.
Yeah.
Let me just say this, though. Whenever there are situations involving interactions between police and innocent person or whatever, the police are always allowed to say, I was scared. I feared for my life. And yes, they might definitely fear for their life. I'm not saying that they don't have a scary job. But what I'm saying is that when they talk about what happens to the suspect and the suspect dies, people always say, well, they should have done this. They should have done that. They should have complied. They should have known. They should have known. But the police are allowed to say, I feared for my life. I don't have the training. So if I get grabbed up by a bunch of cops, which has happened to me, I fear for my life. So my first response is to defend myself. But if something were to happen to me and I died, there would be people talking about, well, he should have just complied. So the expectation of how to handle situations seems like the burden is on the victim, but the police are always allowed to out with the training that they've had. They're always allowed the out of, I feared for my life. Everybody that they kill, they feared for their life. But the person who dies, they don't get that same benefit of the doubt. That's
what I'm going to do is this. When you think about this situation, there's two things at play here. So there was a gentleman who fired his weapon, and then there was Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor died. Unfortunately, she died. That gentleman, Kenneth Walker, who fired the round, was initially arrested. When he told his side of the story, they let him go. He's not in jail. He is not dead. So that's two different things going on here. So he was correct in defending his household. He was right in doing that. That's why he's not going to jail. If the I'm not going to say that there's not shit that goes wrong, because shit always goes wrong. You know, that's just part of fucking life. I'm not going to sit here and fucking listen to all this. Like this shit to me was a tragic fucking occurrence. I just understand how something like this could happen. I get it. And I'm not gonna just say, oh, this shit happened simply because it was a fucking two black people on the other end of that door. Because when they made entry, they didn't know who the fuck was on the other side of the door.
Not one person in this room. Not one person on this video has said anything about race.
Can we just
said earlier, if it was a white person, this would not have happened.
Yeah, okay.
They did that.
Okay. Yes, Mac did. Mac did
can we just admit one thing?
That's been like
one thing, guys. Yeah. It was a shit show. Let's just call a spade a spade. It was a shit show. Because you can't. If you look back at, and again, guys, I always got to say we weren't there, so we're really getting information, whether it's misinformation or true information. We weren't there, but from what we're gathering, there were two people, one sleeping, one fired around. There was 3 cops, right? That's the story so far. There was 3 cops. How did 40 rounds get fired? 41, counting the one the guy shot. 41 shots were fired in a matter of how many minutes?
Seconds.
They
all let off at the same time.
That's a shit show, guys. Let's just be honest. Let's just keep it
And
real.
that-
No
and
matter
yeah,
what
and that-
side you're on.
How do you prevent
that was
that, though?
a blithering shit show.
How do you
I don't
prevent
care
that?
what
though?
kind of training you have. That was a pure D shit show.
But how do you prevent something like that from happening?
You train these individuals.
Right. So
We're
now you're
paying
talking
them
about
for.
right, but now you're talking about advanced military tactics and training.
No.
So now you got to pay for that.
They've been
No.
doing
But
it.
that's what you
Talking
said.
about-
That's what you
No,
said.
we're
You said,
talking
yo,
just
when you
training.
get trained
Y'all-
in the
y'all
military
understand something?
to take
I don't want to cut
the
nobody off, but every time when we were in, where's Army Strong guy? I hope he served somewhere where he fired his round. Every
But that's
time we
military
fired
training.
our round in fucking war, there was an investigation. In war. There wasn't no war in her house.
That's
We're talking
that's a
fucking
reform.
combat,
That's
guys.
reform.
Every round that came out, one of our fucking weapons, there was an investigation.
Hey,
I don't mean to
Dom,
curse,
that's a lot
guys.
of investigations. That's a lot of investigations.
Exactly.
This is about 3,000 rounds going on. God damn.
But that could be part of
We
police.
want to see
Randy,
ballistics.
what's next
We
on the
want to
doc-
see fucking surveying this shit.
What's next? Who we got to talk about next?
Yeah.
We got a what?
What's next on the agenda?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna
Got
move
me
on
all
from this.
excited now.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on. Well, if you're excited now, wait till you see what I got next.
Kev, you know I still love you. You know I still love you, Kev.
Wait till you see what I got next, because I'm glad Kevin's still on the line because something pissed me off today.
My God.
And before I even
boy.
that's right, it's that time. It is that fucking time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it, because here's the thing that pisses me off. Before we get into this whole Miami versus Los Angeles Lakers thing, we had a little bit of a small debate, thanks to Max611 and his post in our group in Facebook about the hate of LeBron James. Yeah. This is to me, it's ridiculous. David, I'm also glad that you're here for this, because I was going to take a few of your lines. I actually was.
You can still use it.
Because David and I had a lot to say, and of course Kevin was there going back and forth. Another gentleman, this guy Brian, was with us, shooting out his shot, saying that he has concrete proof of LeBron not being who he is. But I am so sick and tired.
That don't even make sense.
I know. And I'm just so tired of this nonsense. I'm tired of this anti-LeBron stance that these people have for some reason. Most of it, if not all of it, probably derives from LeBron not going to their team. You mad at that?
And they don't want nobody else to overexceed Michael Jordan. So that's what that is. Like, listen, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say I grew up off of Michael Jordan. And I never hated on LeBron, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I just don't want to see him win no more. I want to see somebody else win. I'm gonna be real. But y'all never saw the hate. Y'all never saw me in the group talking about LeBron this, LeBron that.
Not once, brother. Not once. But again, I go back to this whole it's like y'all are like fucking acting like jilted lovers, like you were left at the altar or some shit. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Are you serious? Stop it. It's
so we all just gotta like the motherfucker?
I'm not done.
Go ahead, bro.
Tell them how you feel. Tell them how you feel, huh?
I am not done. I'm not done. No, because my thing is this, why can't we appreciate what this guy has done? You understand? 9 of the last 10 finals he's in, that's not an accomplishment. Okay, he didn't win all those appearances. I get that. Only won 3, with the possibility of 4 coming up. And again, I'm not saying the guy's the greatest of all time, but I appreciate what he's fucking done. You can't give respect to that? Word? Who else is doing that shit? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Everybody else that's on the team, man.
Oh my God. Okay. Fuck out of here. Come on, son. Stop that bullshit, dude. Stop that bullshit, dude. Cut it out, man. Stop that. You're not even right for that. Knock that off. And again, and hold on, Kev. And I go back to when LeBron first broke, rookie season, whatever, in first couple of years and whatnot. And he took a team that was full of bums, 50 wins. You understand? Took a team and it's like, well, 50. This is to you, Kev. Well, they still won 50 games. Yeah, but why? Was it because of Boobie Gibson throwing in 35 points a night? Was it because of Mo Williams adding 37?
But you cannot say that team was bummy. They won 50 games. How
because
many
of LeBron
teams?
James.
No. But no. You can't do that. You cannot say they was fucking shitty.
Oh my
when
God.
He's a part of that team. You could say, yo, he contributed.
Kevin, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead, Max.
Before LeBron, what were they? In the basement, right?
When he came, he didn't make the playoffs
Yes or no?
his first 2 years. Yes. So don't act like he came on the scene. No. Don't act like he came on the scene and he just lit the shit up. He came on the scene. They were still shitty. Okay?
So when he left, what happened?
They dismantled the whole fucking team.
What happened?
No. Go back and look at what happened to that team, and say that was the same team minus one LeBron James. Do that,
David.
Yep.
What happened when they left?
David.
What happened when they left? Answer the question.
They wasn't good.
Yeah, David.
Part of that is his fault.
Yeah. David, is this the same dude that said the Clippers were better than the Lakers?
Say that shit. Can we stay on topic?
Is this the same? No, this is exactly the topic. This is exactly the topic.
Yeah.
This is exactly the topic. I want you to get a little grounded because I want somebody else to confirm what I'm thinking here. Is this the same dude that said that the Clippers were a better team than the Lakers?
Yep.
Yes, it is. I was just from that because I was
No,
here.
I wasn't asking for your confirmation. I was asking for somebody else's confirmation, but I can't believe what you say. I can't believe what you say. So
I mean, you're the same person that said, but did they win? But did they win? But did they win? LeBron has made 10 finals.
I'm just going to say one thing to you, and I'm going to let it sink in. And I want it to sink in, all right?
Mm-hmm.
The king is still a king until somebody knocks him off his throne. 17 years in, he's still the king. Boom. Let that sink in.
Okay, there's a difference between saying, yo, you are unequivocally the best player in the league. I've never said, yo, LeBron James is fucking trash at what he does, this, that, and the third. I have never said that. You cannot point to anything I have ever said that he was not the best player. What I've said was that I do not believe that he should get all of the fucking credit for the things that he quote unquote has accomplished. So if you make it, he has made it 3 times.
A couple of days ago, you said he had another fourth quarter flame out.
He did. That's facts. He played poorly in the fourth quarter. What does that have to do with anything
Go look
else?
Look at his record and close out games. Go look at
what
his
does
record.
That have
and
to
close
do
out
with that
games.
one game? That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
That's what y'all always do. Y'all jump to other shit.
No. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give him that one. I'm not gonna deny. I'm gonna give him that one. No, I'll give it to him.
I'm not.
Because you a troll.
Wait, hold on. Kevin, you wake up in the morning with LeBron on your brain. I'll go to your Facebook page and your Twitter page.
Yeah, because I'm in that lane. I admit that I'm in that lane. I don't just arbitrarily fucking get up and type that shit. I'm usually responding to something some other motherfucker has said. And I give my opinion. Just like every fucking body else. And I'm allowed to do that as a sportsman. I don't have to like the nigga.
Kev, what year did you graduate from Banneker?
2004.
2004. What year did LeBron come in the league?
2003.
Okay, so when he came into the league, at what point did you have an issue with him?
From jump.
From the beginning. So when he was at St. Michael, St. Vincent, whatever that school is, you didn't like him then?
I didn't like him.
Well, why?
What is it that? Because this is before people started with the greatest and all of this stuff. He was a high school student like you were. What was it that LeBron did that made you go on this lane, stay in this lane of anti-LeBron? I just don't understand it. It's one thing to be, 17 years in the league and you give him no credit.
That's not true.
I don't
That's
see
not
you
true.
give him any credit.
That's not true. The thing that happens with LeBron, if you ever speak out against LeBron, it automatically goes to, yo, you don't fucking like him, this, that, and the third. To me, he is a flawed player. He puts up tremendous fucking numbers, this, that, and the third. That's one thing. But sometimes when you fucking watch him, well, when I watch him, I can't say it for the rest of y'all dick riders, but when you watch him, you know, I don't feel like, yo, I'm watching the best player to ever fucking do it. So
Who said he was?
what a lot of people say,
Okay, but
a lot of
Depends
people
on the
say it.
generation though, because if it's like young kids, it's like in their teens and early 20s.
Yo, on
That's what they grew
on
up
Twitter,
on,
on
and
Facebook,
that's
yo, it's
how they-
all types of motherfuckers.
Okay, so let me ask you this: you're a Nick fan, like I'm Nick adjacent. I'll just put it like that. So on, somebody correct me if I have the dates wrong, but what was it? July 8th, 2010. What was the date of the decision?
Sounds
What,
about right.
what
I don't
were you
remember.
doing? What were you doing at that time? That
I watched that shit.
You watched it, and was there a part of you that was saying, "Damn, I hope he said I'm bringing my talents to the Big Apple"?
Part of me, yes.
okay.
And that has always been the conflict with me about disliking a player, but respecting the talent. You can do both. You don't have to fucking say, yo, I hate that motherfucker and everything he about. I never said he was a bad player.
Let me continue this thought then. Let's say he did say the Big Apple instead of South Beach, and he won championships, 2 championships with the Knicks. Would you be focusing on the flaws, or would you be celebrating the man for the fact that he brought the Knicks a championship that they hadn't won since 1970?
You can do both.
What I'm
I
saying
would probably
is
be doing both.
because I'm saying that TV that we're all looking at, you'd have 8K TV with LeBron vision if he had brought championships to the Knicks.
No,
You would not see.
no, that's not true.
I'm telling you,
No,
Kev,
That's not true.
as a Knicks fan, and he brought championships. Hell, we love John Starks, and we didn't win shit.
Right.
But
Yeah,
so I'm telling you, your vision would be a little different.
I don't think so.
I got a little different
so.
perspective. I got a little different perspective to bring to the situation. So I never call any NBA players bums because
Can't be a bum.
450 players, and they're some of the best players in the world. They might look like bums when they're playing against some of the best players in the world, but they would come out and scrape the regular ball players. So never call them bums. There's no perfect player. I'll tell you that now.
Exactly.
James is a generational player. Before it's all said and done, if he doesn't have any significant injuries, he's probably going to be either number 1 or number 2 in the league in scoring.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have rebounds, assists, all different. He's going to be in the top 5 in all of those categories before it's all said and done. If he doesn't have a debilitating injury, how many players that have played this game can even come close to that?
None. And he did it with this amount of talent in the NBA at that.
And that's my thing.
That's
That shit is subjective.
And he did it.
that's debatable.
And he did
It's
it.
subjective about the amount of talent in the league today.
Right.
I think
That's subjective. Each person is going to say it differently. So you could say, yeah, all these motherfuckers over here averaging 30 points, whatever. Yeah, they ain't playing no defense. They're not playing no defense. Half the time LeBron get the ball, people get the fuck out his way when he come for the layup.
Really?
We got to keep something else in perspective too, guys. With this generation of players, without taking nothing away from them, when you look at numbers, well, a Wilt Chamberlain, a Jerry West, a Kareem, a Bill Walton, they didn't come in when they were 18 years old. So you got 4 years of stats where these guys went to college. when there wasn't no coming out of high school, weren't no one and dones. So
Well, there was.
But what I'm saying is, it's the way it is now. It's a totally different generation now. We've got to learn to accept it. Don't get me wrong. But when you start adding up numbers like, oh, this guy scored the most points as a 19-year-old. Well, there wasn't but so many 19-year-olds that ever came in the NBA. So
so he's doing it against grown men.
As a high schooler. As a high schooler.
Guys, back then,
but he's 6'8", 280. You can't.
Just think about that. The Jerry Wests, the Oscar Robinsons, the Wilt Chamberlains, they all did 4 years of college. So there was 4 years of numbers missing. It's just a common, basic math, guys. I'm not taking nothing away from these guys. I'm just saying there's 4 years of stats that a lot of guys didn't have.
So you, as a high schooler, you coming in as a high schooler with grown men. With grown
you
men.
Built like a grown man. It's
been in the league. Wait, that's been in the league. You're 17, 18 years old. You coming into the league with grown men and holding your own. In many instances, you making motherfuckers back the fuck up. At 18
so
years
you got
old,
some saddle burn going on there.
You come into the league. No, I'm just giving you facts.
Facts is he also was playing against them niggas probably all throughout high school. Just because you ain't see them niggas playing with him doesn't mean, the first time he stepped on that NBA court, that was the first time he faced that kind of competition.
I also remember when he was still in high school and there was all the hype and he was talking about coming into the league. There were people that were in the league that were saying, they were licking their chops. They said, he ain't going to be able to do that when he come in here. I don't care how big he is. They knew how big he was when they looked at him. But there were many a guy in the NBA who had been playing for years that said, oh, it's going to be different when he comes into the NBA. He's not playing, because when you saw him play that ESPN game when Bill Walker lost his shit about LeBron James, he was playing against the average looking high school kid that looks like a little kid compared to him. So a lot of people said, well, the eye test was saying that he's playing against kids that can't match up with him physically. But they said that when he gets into the league, it's going to be a different story. He's not going to be able to hang with these grown men. They're going to push him around. He came in there, and what did he do? He exceeded the hype.
Right.
Dunked all on the.
They knew how big he was when he came in there, but they didn't believe it. They didn't believe that he could hold his own against them. And what did he do?
Right.
He did more than hold his own against them.
Right. 17 years.
17 years, exactly. So
and that's it.
That you got to give him credit for that.
That's an excellent point, David, because that, you know what I'm saying? Just like you said, exceeded the hype. How many times have we seen Kwame Browns and you know what I'm saying? And all these great expectations, these former number one picks overall and whatnot, and they flamed out. But the expectation with giving him the name I don't know if he gave himself the name, or if the media, the king, and all this other shit. And what did he do with that? The media did. So it wasn't him. It wasn't LeBron. The media gave whoa. The media gave him that. The media gave him that name, and with all these lofty expectation, what did the guy fucking do? He went out there and he exceeded that shit. And nobody could tell me different. Nobody.
You got to give him credit. Because you know what?
I do not.
You're out of your mind.
There's far more non-LeBrons than there are LeBrons.
Jesus.
That's fine.
Just mentioned a few of them. We've had plenty
That's
of
fine, but
that weren't 18 years old.
Stop hating yourself, boy. Stop hating yourself, brother.
Stop hating myself?
Yeah, stop hating yourself.
See, this is the bullshit that I don't like. What the fuck you mean stop hating myself? What does that mean?
I think he's joking. I think he's joking around. He's being funny. He's being funny. I don't think it's nothing seriously personal. Come on now. You know?
Yeah.
Y'all take Kevin just out of context.
Yeah.
First of all, I did not say that he's not a good player. Huh?
You never. Okay, wait. What?
I never said, he's not a good player. I've never said that. It would be asinine for somebody to even imply that he's not a good player. What I say is that the hype that he gets is unwarranted. That's what I said.
Okay, there's a difference in that.
It's
I can understand.
unwarranted.
There's a difference in that. I get it.
Who's doing what he does?
You know,
Who's doing what
there's
he
a
does?
difference.
For the past
There's a
17 years. For the past 17 years, who's
He
been
did
doing
not.
what
He
does?
did not make 17 straight finals. Didn't make
No.
17 straight finals.
We know that.
And you yourself is the guy who said, "Yo, but did he win? But did he win?" Who gives a fuck how many finals you go to when you lose the majority of the ones that you play in? And that's fine. It is fine. It is fine to lose. I don't knock him for losing. I don't knock him for losing.
How many?
Hold on. No. Y'all got to talk y'all shit. It is my turn to talk my shit.
Talk your shit, Kev. Talk your shit.
I'm not saying, yo, he should not lose. Not saying that. My problem comes when he loses, he gets a level of, I guess, acceptance that other players do not fucking get. There's excuses as to why he lose, as if he was not on the fucking team.
Okay.
And I do not approve of that. When you are the best player,
it's a fair point.
When you are the best player, my problem with him is that he never truly adjusts his game. When you look at his stats, he always puts up his same statistical fucking line. Okay, so at the end of the day, he could always say, yo, look at my numbers. I did what I had to do to contribute to my team trying to win the game. That is a fact. You can't fucking argue that. You could look at that shit.
Kevin.
Okay, he had 10 assists.
Hold on. Let me finish.
He had 25 points. That's fine. My thing is that sometimes in playing the game, you don't always have to go get the triple-double to help your team. You could let other people do certain things while you do certain things. So when they compare him to Michael Jordan and they say, well, the only thing Michael Jordan did was fucking score. Yes, he was the best at that shit, but he also had teammates who he allowed to do certain things. It doesn't matter that Phil Jackson had to come teach him how to do it. He did it. And
So
what I feel is that, like, yo, when one player dominates everything in the game, that does not allow his teammates to do much of anything else. So then when he loses, then they're gonna be like, yo, his teammate doesn't do
that your teammate did something.
Hold on. Can I ask you something? Kevin?
Hold on.
Ask your question.
Yeah, go ahead, Mac.
Magic Johnson, similar.
Yes.
Am I right or wrong?
Y'all making too much noise. I don't know. Somebody just said y'all making too much noise. Y'all niggas making too much noise.
I don't know who said that, but okay. But good, Mac. Finish.
Yeah.
I said Magic Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
He does the same. He does similar to LeBron, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
So you have a problem with him?
No.
Stop.
Okay.
Why do I have to stop?
What the hell was
Why
that?
do I have to stop?
What was that?
Magic also won more finals than he lost.
We're not talking about winning finals. I asked you one question.
About winning and losing. The same guy on the line who said, but did he win? But did he win? But did he win? He didn't win. But did he win? You played to win. He said that. So same thing with LeBron. Did he win?
All right.
When he won,
so you also
when he won, do you give him credit for that? Or do you give credit to
him credit for the 3 times he won?
You give credit to Ray Allen and Kyrie Irving for hitting shots and those.
So let me do it this way. If you go back and you watch Game 6, the last 2 minutes of Game 6, take away Ray Allen's shot. You can't do that. But if you watch how LeBron specifically fucking played, you're going to tell me, had they lost that game, did he not lose that game for them?
He lost the game. There's 4 quarters in the game. So you're going to eliminate the other 3 quarters, and you're just going to say
when it becomes you do that when it becomes crunch time, because those 4 quarters got you to that point. You still got to close it. You can't say, "Oh, well, you know what? I scored 25 fucking points. My job is done."
No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, you act like the other 3 quarters don't count for anything.
They do count, but we're not talking about that.
No, we're only talking about where you can find a flaw in LeBron's game. That's the point that you want to emphasize.
So what you want is to say, it's
don't
okay to in crunch time play poorly because you played three fabulous quarters.
What I'm saying is there are 4 quarters in the game, and you like to focus on where you can find flaws in his game.
That was the most important part of the game.
What do you see when you watch a game? What are you paying attention to when you watch a basketball game? What are you paying attention to?
Depends on who I'm watching.
So when you watch
and what I'm watching for.
When you watch LeBron play, do you realize like the other team is geared towards stopping him? Like the whole defensive scheme is geared towards stopping him, and it still doesn't matter because he still gets his numbers and he still gets his team involved and is one of the most unselfish superstars that has ever played the game. Do you ever see that?
No.
No? Okay.
No, he doesn't. Because to your point, maybe the 4th quarter, maybe that's the time LeBron is saying, you know what? I'm going to give my teammate.
My problem is not that he fails or this. My thing is that, like, yo, y'all be swallowing his shit as if everything he does.
This is a family show.
Wait. Hold on. Can't be making those type of statements. Not gonna allow you to
next conversation, man.
I guarantee that out of all the brothers in this room, you're the only one that wakes up with LeBron on your lips. I mean, mine.
That's fine. You can imply that. Like, honestly, yeah, I watch a lot of sports shit.
I don't think about LeBron when I wake up in the morning.
I'm not gonna sit here and fucking defend masculinity or whatever that's irrelevant. I don't give a fuck about anything. I'm not gonna do that.
You brought it up.
Time out. Okay. Listen. Let me just say something, brother. Let me just say this to Kevin. I love you, man. It's gonna be all right. No, hold on.
I know it is.
It's gonna be all right, man. You know, listen. You know me. I'm a clown. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's gonna be on display right now because I know you in love, man. You in love with this guy.
I don't understand where y'all get that from. My thing is not. It's not
where
even.
We
you know,
get it.
I'm gonna keep the stack with you. It's not even more so LeBron. I got my issues with him. Like this is the same dude that said, "Yo, you know what? Listen, y'all can say whatever y'all want, but at the end of the day, Cliff Notes, y'all, I'm still be rich, and y'all niggas still gonna have to get up and go to whatever crappy ass job y'all gonna have."
And that's what hurt you. That's what hurt your feelings.
It was a dickhead thing to say. You know what I'm saying? That's a dickhead thing to say.
It was. You know what? It was a response.
It didn't hurt my feelings, but it's like, yo, okay, tell me how you really feel.
Well, shoot. When for all the years of his career, you got people like yourself, and I'm not saying derogatorily, but people like yourself who have hated on the man. So at some point, he's human. Should he have said it? No, he probably should not have said it. But in a moment, he's human, and you get hated on repeatedly when you try to represent yourself as a good person and do the right thing. He said it.
Good and well. That's good and well. I don't have a problem with him as a player. I will say the amount of attention that he gets from others kind of fucks up how I feel about him, because you start putting him in places that I feel like, yo, he does not belong. Okay, that's fine. He went to his 9 finals. He lost 6 of them. People do not talk about those because he won 3. But what sense does that make?
People do talk about that. People do talk about that.
Depending on what lane you're looking at.
Fact. It's factual. He is 3-6 in 9 finals. 6. Those are the losses. I get that. People do talk about that. You understand? But let's not get it fucked up for a second, because here's the thing. The man went a total of 9 times. I don't give a shit if he lost all 9. He went due to his talents. He went.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying?
But would you say that he was the best player?
No, I never did. I never said that. I've never said that.
My beef don't be with you. My problem is the people that say, yo, he is the best to ever do it. And then they
Why
point
do
to
you, why do you
statistics
let those? Why do you pay attention to those people?
because
That's
honestly,
because you like LeBron. You love LeBron.
see, that's the dumb shit.
That's the same. That's the same thing that they were saying for Michael Jordan. But
That's
somebody
the
else
dumb
got
shit that
13
I'm talking
rings.
about.
That's the same thing that they said about Michael Jordan, but somebody else got 13 rings. 13 rings, and somebody else is the leading scorer of the NBA all time. But it's the same thing that they said about Michael Jordan, the best that ever did it. The best that ever did it, right? But Kareem is number one in scoring, and somebody else got is it Bill Russell got 13 rings. So I don't pay
11.
attention.
Two
11?
was a coach, right? Player coach?
11.
Well, 11.
Yeah,
It's,
well,
it's still
11,
over.
right?
It's still
11,
greater than
11, that's still amazing. That's still amazing.
It is. There's no question about it.
It is amazing, but
And
my
he
problem
went to
is when
13
people make
times.
the excuses
He went 13,
about
11
Uh-huh.
out of 13.
people make the excuses about how he lost,
Kevin,
and
why,
then it's
why
like,
do
oh,
you,
his
Hold on,
teammates.
hold on, Mike. Let me hear this statement from this guy. Go ahead, Kevin.
His teammates ain't show up. That's because he always get his stats. Why does it have to be, oh, LeBron did his thing and then his teammates ain't do shit? Oh, he had shitty ass talent. What he does is he goes to the team, he sets it up. Hold on a second. Y'all got spared.
Oh,
Wait, what? I didn't understand what he.
he had to take a
I
call
didn't know
or
what he
something.
said either. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
didn't understand.
I'm done talking about the LeBron hate, man. They gonna hate. Let them hate, man. You know, we in the finals. We about to see.
my question is, why do you pay attention to people who are jock riding LeBron if you don't like LeBron?
But that's the point, Matt. That's the point. And what I was going to ask him before, he's back. What I was going to say is that out of all the things negative about LeBron, one thing that you could say that you said this evening that he actually said was the comment that he made about I'm going to still be rich. But all that other stuff, the excuses that you hear, that's coming from other fans.
Come on, boy.
It's not like you're not hearing LeBron say, "Well, I had a better team," or if this one had done this, or
He loosely implies that.
He implies it. That's I think I don't get that from him. But if that's the way you see it, that's not what I'm getting from him. But,
So put it like this: last year, right? Last year he went to the Lakers. He went to the Lakers. They had a young team. He was the veteran presence on that team. They decided, hey, Anthony Davis is available for trade. Let's go get him. I'm not mad at that. With all the rumors swirling about that shit, did he say anything to those young guys? Like, yo, keep your head in the game, this, that, and the third, all this other shit. No, you know why? He wanted to get Anthony Davis. Not mad at him for wanting to get Anthony Davis.
How do you know what he said?
How do you know what he didn't say?
I don't.
So that
you could see it on the body language of those kids because they was fucking kids. They was young. You could see that, like, yo, nobody was helping them.
I could agree with him
struggle.
on that LeBron did. He didn't say nothing to them. He did play them. He played them bogus, man. I do agree on that one. But that don't mean I need to go out and just hate him and stuff like that. I mean, it is what it is with LeBron.
Yeah.
But he did play Lonzo and them.
My
crazy.
problem becomes is like, yo, you can't say nothing against the dude. You can objectively say, hey, yo, you failed there. Yo, you failed there. That doesn't mean, yo, I hate you as a fucking player. That means I'm going to point out, hey, maybe you need to improve over here. There's nothing wrong with that. I believe all of us on here have played athletics.
Kevin, I have a question. What does he need to improve on when he's going to the championship 9 times in a row?
Those 6 times he fucking lost.
It got quiet.
I'm not quiet. What the fuck?
He get quiet.
Y'all out, man. Y'all niggas tripping.
No. Listen, man. Listen, we about to see Jimmy Butler taking the team to the finals, man. This is his first year on this team.
Right.
to boost Bishop up tonight before I go to bed.
Right.
The 76ers and the Pelicans have reached out to Doc Rivers.
The who? The 76ers and the Pelicans?
The 76ers
and the Pelicans
have reached out to Doc Rivers already.
He'll be great for the 76ers. He'll be great for the 76ers. He'll be great for them.
Why would he be great for it?
76ers got to get rid of either Joel or Ben.
No.
That's
Bishop,
the truth.
why do you think he would be great on the 76ers? Let me hear some of this real quick.
He would be one of the coaches that could get in Joel Embiid's head and have him play up to the potential that he's got.
Only if he wants to. Only if Joel Embiid wants to.
I'm just saying he's never had a coach that held him accountable, that could get into him and let him know, listen, dude, you could be leading this league. Forget Giannis. Forget Giannis. This could be your league.
You know what? I think Doc would be better with the Pelicans because he's never done what you're saying.
Put it down.
He's never had that guy he's turned around. He had the Garnetts. He had the Pierces.
Right.
He had all the talent with the Clippers. So maybe his best bet is to go with a younger, try to mold type team.
Interesting.
Because the other one didn't work. Let's just be honest. He couldn't get Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to come together. Let's go with the younger. I think he fit in better with the Pelicans, to be honest, because their expectations may be a little lower too.
That's a fact.
The Pelicans got like 2 seasons more before they gonna do anything. They got about 2 seasons more. They might make the playoffs next season, but they'll get bumped out.
Yeah,
they're gonna get bumped up. They got about 2 more seasons.
I could agree with that.
That's if what's the name doesn't get hurt.
Right. You know what I mean? Definitely.
Yeah.
Stay healthy.
But it's interesting that those 2 organizations have already reached out to this dude. I don't know. You both present good cases. You know what I'm saying? And as far as like him going to Philadelphia, again, Bishop saying that he could probably get the most out of Embiid or whatnot. The only thing I'll say is if Joel Embiid's got to be on board with that. You understand? He's got to be 100% on board with that. If he's not, it doesn't make a difference who you have. You can bring fucking Red Auerbach back. You understand? So we'll see how that develops.
Yeah. I one of the things that I don't want to keep laboring on the LeBron topic, but one of the things that I learned to appreciate when I watched LeBron play, even with all his imperfections, for the 17 seasons that I watched him play, like he's gotten better each season with making sure that he includes all of his teammates and they all share in the wealth on the court. That's one of the knocks that he had to endure, that he's not selfish enough. Meaning like you in the playoffs and he has an opportunity to go to the basket, but he sees J.R. Smith open in the corner, or he sees Boobie Gibson open in the corner, and he'll make the right basketball play. That's one of the knocks that has been on him, and I didn't appreciate it in the beginning, but as I started watching him play more and more, I'm like this dude is like a basketball savant. Like he's seeing plays before they even develop, and at his status, by all rights, he could shoot every single shot, but he doesn't do that, and he still is able to put up some pretty decent numbers across the board.
For sure.
And it's like that to me is like for 17 years, that to me is like amazing.
It is.
And it doesn't matter who he's playing with. It doesn't matter who he's playing with. When he went back to Cleveland and he was playing and he won that championship, which is why I don't understand. It's like Kyrie Irving, that's the most freest that you've ever been to be yourself. That's the freest that you've ever been to be yourself, playing alongside LeBron James, and you couldn't like. I don't get that.
Can I say this?
Please.
2 things.
Please.
My issue, everything you said is true. My issue becomes when the pundits, they will say, well, the people on his team were trash. He dragged them. If you are a great player and you make your teammates better, you have now raised their level of play. They may not be on par with you or any other superstars, but you have raised their level just by playing with them, sharing your basketball IQ, so on and so forth. My issue comes like it is kind of disrespectful to those other players. For LeBron, they only talk about him and they disparage other players. And that goes into what you said about Kyrie, that outside noise of playing with LeBron, just knowing that, like, yo, you know what? If we win, it's going to be all about him. If we lose, then it becomes, well, y'all didn't do this to help him.
It's always about
my issue.
It's always about LeBron.
I don't like that.
If you look at the players that have played with him, J.R. Smith got a second life. Boobie Gibson got a second life. Tristan Thompson got a second life. All these dudes got paid playing with LeBron. They wouldn't have ever made the money that they made. Mo Williams, and the list goes on. The list goes on and on. The list goes on and on.
Right.
It goes on and on.
I agree with what you said, Kev, but my question is, can you give credit to other players without disparaging LeBron? And so when you say that people, the pundits, are talking about the other guys as being trash, and you're defending them as players in that conversation, but you don't have to then tear down LeBron in order to elevate them. You could say LeBron did that's where it comes across. It becomes a response. It's almost like you can anticipate it, that Kev is going to respond with something anti-LeBron in order to show that the other guys weren't trash. You could still raise them up and say that they were this and they were that without having to diminish LeBron or disparage him in order to make that point.
My question is this. You coach sports. Your player plays a great 3/4 of the game.
Yes.
Y'all win.
Going back to that.
He played a terrible fourth quarter. Do you say nothing about that fourth quarter because y'all won?
No.
Did his first 3 quarters put you in a position? Did his first 3 quarters put you in a position to win?
Yes.
Did his first 3 quarters put you in a position to win? So maybe, just maybe, I'm just brainstorming here. Just maybe the fact that he was killing it in the first 3 quarters forced the other team to focus more on him and take certain things away so that he's not killing them in the fourth quarter, which means that he has to.
By your definition of LeBron, that does not happen to him. No matter what defense or anything they throw at him, he still gets hits. That's my issue. That's my issue. You said for 17 years he's been doing this. No matter what, he's been doing this. The defense is geared to stop him, and he still gets his.
Right. So he could by all means, he could force the issue. He could force the issue and just get numbers. He could do that. But the greatness of the type of player that he is, he relents to that and allows his other teammates to eat. He allows the defense to focus on him so that Boobie Gibson, so that Tristan Thompson, so that J.R. Smith, so that these other players that normally you wouldn't hear about, so that they can eat.
J.R. Smith was 6th man of the year with the Knicks, averaging nearly 20 points. Not saying he's phenomenal, not saying he's great, but he was not, okay, this guy was only scoring 6 points a game.
Well, anybody that's in the league, like I said earlier, anybody's in the league, out of millions of people who want to be in that league, is 450 players.
Right.
Correction. You can't call any of them trash.
450 players out of the millions that want to be in that league. 450. So the 15th man on each bench would scrape the best so-called pro player. So I don't call any of those dudes trash. I don't call any of them trash, but I'm just saying you have to, when you're watching the games, just another perspective for you to watch games at. Just look at, if you watch the finals, just look at his reactions to how the defenses are reacting and see how he hits his teammates off of passes, puts them in positions to be successful.
That's fine.
All of this, while still being a superstar and still grabbing those numbers. All of that.
That's his job.
And he's been doing it for
Thank you.
17 years.
But that's my thing. Like, yo, that's like giving an attendance award to a motherfucker that come to work every day.
Oh, now we're talking about something
You know what
else.
I'm saying? If you are expected to do this, boom, yo, you're going to get that triple-double, and your teammates going to get involved. This, that, and the third. Why do I have to listen to, LeBron? Yo, Denver was on a fucking run, blowing these motherfuckers out, and Reggie Miller is over here talking about LeBron. He not even watching the fucking game. Like, yo, when does it stop? You know what I'm saying?
I don't pay attention to those people.
Yo,
Where Denver at?
huh?
Where Denver at?
Home.
Oh,
So because they lost, you give them no credit for how they played and winning or losing.
it don't matter. They home.
Oh no, they're a good team.
They are a good team.
They're gonna be in the playoffs. They're gonna be in the
It's gonna be a
playoffs.
problem.
They're gonna be in the playoffs. But for this season, like I said, playoffs. There's no moral victories. For this season right here, they're going home. Good job, attaboy. You going home. So it don't matter.
I agree with that. I'm gonna give it a 4-0. It's gonna be a sweep.
You say sweep, Nico?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Wow.
say it's a
Okay.
sweep.
They'll get one. Miami will get one.
I think
Yeah, if they get one, then they get one, but it's not going.
I think actually Miami's gonna get two. I really believe
Well,
that.
why is it going to be a sweep?
It's mismatches all over.
Yeah, because the only big man they really got for LA is just Bam. LA got Dwight Howard, AD, and JaVale McGee.
Well, he is goofy. Exactly.
And then he is goofy. And they just gotta play two big men for Miami.
Right.
And then LeBron just gonna do what he want to do.
He'll get some rebounds. Block some shots. He'll keep Goran Dragic from penetrating and going to the basket.
Yup. And then AD might be putting up 40.
He'll keep
LeBron might just sit back and be like, you know what, AD,
And they'll
just take
probably
over.
still
Take
get
over.
down the-
He'll keep
know what I'm
Tyler
saying?
Hero. Keep Tyler Hero from penetrating and doing what he wanted to do. And then you'll also
Yep,
have
you got-
big guards. Big guards.
Yo.
So they got
Yeah.
big guards. So there's going to be problems. There's going to be problems that Duncan Robinson.
Yeah, he gonna get locked up by Danny Green. Danny Green gonna handle them.
We're going to dedicate somebody to him. We're going
Right.
to dedicate somebody to him. And KCP and the rest of them dudes and Rondo and these guys, like they going to Miami's backcourt is going to be having a lot of problems. It's not going to be free flowing like and Bam Adebayo, he's going to realize like it's a next level. Like I'm good, but there's a next level to this. And, it's not next level with AD. And then you got LeBron. I don't even know, like Jimmy Butler and Crowder. I mean that's 12 fouls.
But hey, peace, y'all. I'm about to get up out of here, man.
Okay,
It was
brother.
nice talking to y'all.
Thanks a lot for timing in, brother. I always appreciate you.
Appreciate
Well,
y'all.
listen,
Come on.
I think we're gonna call it a night, my damn self. I think that's gonna be it. It's been over 2 hours. That's good enough for tonight. I don't know. Good night. Listen, first of all, let me get some props to my dudes in the chat. That's my man. Do it for Jack. Also, Sandro, I appreciate you. Hopefully, I'm not leaving anybody else out.
I saw Ronan Black was in there.
Ronan Black, my man. Thank you, David, for that. You know what I'm saying? Thank you guys and people that watch on Facebook, YouTube, and StreamYard.
Let me give a shout out to my man Kev. And I mean, no, all jokes aside, I mean this from the heart.
Right.
Kev is my dude.
For sure.
And even though he was like basically on his own, it was everybody was coming at Kev, and Kev took it like a champ, and he made his points, and we goof around on you, but much respect to you, Kev, for holding your own against a tough group, and I love you, bro.
Appreciate that.
It's never anything personal.
Nah, it really. The hell with that. It is personal. Hey, fuck you,
No,
man.
no, for me, it's never anything personal.
No doubt.
We'll go back and forth, but at the end of the day, I don't take any of this stuff personal. I don't know everything. I'll just give you a different perspective on things.
That's it.
And for growth and development, you always got to be willing to keep an open mind.
Right.
You always got to be willing to keep an open mind.
All of us.
It may not. I mean, it may not hit you like right then and there, but when you go back and you have a little bit of reflection, and maybe it's because I take things from each one of you after I go back and I reflect on it. I take things from each one of you.
There you go.
It's never anything personal. So
no,
I want you
absolutely
to
not.
Phone thinking like, yo, I hate the bishop, and yo, that dude this and that dude that. Nah, never that. Yo, I don't hate you. I don't hate you.
For sure. There you go.
That's like hating myself, and I can't hate myself.
Nah, never that. You know what I'm saying? Never that.
Yep.
Brothers.
And big shout out to you, R and Mark for keeping this going. You know, I know that it takes commitment, and I want to let you know that I respect it and I really appreciate what you do. This is definitely the realest talk in sports.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Thank you for the phone.
There's only one person I don't like in this chat. There's only one person I don't like. And it ain't you, back 11. It ain't you.
Word?
That's what's up.
Really? Wait till the next show. I'm going to see you.
Peace, y'all.
Peace out, brothers.
Thanks, y'all.